All right, welcome to another edition of the External Bum Show. Ralph Williams here. All right. Yeah, some Chicago and Saturday in the park. We start off with that every single Saturday morning. What a great morning we have here for you. We're going to talk mostly today about the guys getting into the Hall of Fame, or at least some of the candidates. As you well know, for the 9th time, Hines Ward is in it again. And let's see if Hines Ward finally gets in after 9 times. All right, guys, let's introduce our panel here. To my right or left here of your screen is Leo Haggerty. Leo from Amped Up Sports. How are you?
I'm fine, Ralph. How about you?
Good. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what's going on.
Well, I'm the editor-in-chief of Amped Up Sports down here in Tampa, Florida. And you can catch all our material on ampedupsports.com, or you can check it out on Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the place and post daily videos. In fact, we have our correspondent, Ryan Neal, and our photographers, Kelly Champion and William Smith. They're down at LSU this weekend with LSU UCLA. So we're all over the place.
All right. That's great. Below me here is another member of Amped Up Sports, and that's Mike Siszak. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing great, Ralph. Good to see you again. Leo, I woke up early in the morning to fight with you this morning. So
there you go. It's great to have you on here, Mike. Tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you work with Amped Up Sports doing soccer, Baltimore Ravens, that kind of thing.
I cover the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers for Amped Up Sports, as well as hosting the Too Many Guys soccer show. The worst 120 minutes or so in all of sports podcasting. We suck, and we know we do. We wear that like a badge. You can catch us on YouTube and all your podcasting platforms.
All right, Jeremy Ballreich from the kneecap biting and Detroit Lions. Go ahead, Jeremy. How are you this morning?
That's right. I'm also a part of the South Florida Tribune writers contributors. I write about the Detroit Lions and the NFL. I cover the NFL and the Detroit Lions. Ralph is also a part of one of my shows, the NFL Roundtable Talks, every Wednesday night at 9. I do 5 days a week from noon to 1, and then I do 4 nights a week, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and now Saturdays, because I'm not fighting with primetime NFL, at 9 p.m.
Okay, great. Scott had some things to do this morning, but we're still going to promote his book here. It is called the Lessons from the Microphone. Hang on a second here. I don't know what's going on this morning. My computer's been freezing up all morning here. There we go.
Looking on you.
What's that?
It looks like it double clicks because as soon as it comes up, it goes away.
Yeah. Yeah, hang on. It should come up right now. There it goes. Lessons from the Microphone. Turning into enduring wisdom of visionary leaders. Scott's been in the media business for well over 40 years or more, and he's coming up with a second book, which I believe he's starting in November to write up a second book about this, part 2, or however it goes. I'm not into writing, so I don't know how they do things with books and stuff like that. We are in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios. Let me see where we're at here. Mata. There we go. All right. There we go. Come on. See, this is what I'm going through this morning, everybody. Sorry. Let's see where we're at here. What's that, Jeremy?
We all have these days.
Yeah, well, I had mine this morning. There it is. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today. 724-2010-500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Okay. We're going to get started with our bum segment. And our bum segment is brought to you in part this morning by Fold and Travel Mobility. Listen, if you're handicapped like I am and you need to get around, well, you know what? It's hard because sometimes you don't want to go out because you can't. Well, I have an option for you. Fold and Travel Mobility, 1-877-GOT-FOLD or foldandtravelmobility.com. They have the best selection of folding power wheelchairs that you can fold up, put in the trunk of your car, and go anywhere you want to go if you're handicapped as I am. All right. All right, guys, we're going to get started with our bum segment. We'll start with you first, Mike, since you're our guest here. Who's your bum for today?
This segment of the External Bum Show is brought to you by the letter 2. It's a magic letter. As in, my bum of the week is David Tepper, the owner of the Carolina Panthers. And the reason why this segment is brought to you by the letter 2, he bought the team for $2.2 billion. Over the course of the time that he has owned the Baltimore Ravens, they have started 12 quarterbacks, which is an average of 2 per season. After trading his draft pick, he has won more than 7 games on 2, or I'm sorry, more than 5 games on 2 separate occasions, compiling a record of 3-1, which means that he loses at a rate of 2-1. So my bum of the week, David Tepper, how do you trade up to draft a quarterback number 1, proceed to put an entire infrastructure around said quarterback, and then fire the entire lot, wait for it, 2 games before the end of the season?
All right, Leo, you're bum.
You know what, guys? I have 2 of them, and the first one I have is both you and Jeremy, Ralph, because Purdue, you picked Purdue last week, and I tried to talk you off that fence. I'm going, no, guys, no. And you know what? Purdue only lost by 59 points. I was impressed. You know,
I was shocked the heck. I did not realize that. I thought Purdue would give a better game, and I was wrong. And I'm one of the people that will admit I was wrong. Yeah. All right, Jeremy.
My bum is Ben Johnson. That had to be the worst play calling I've ever seen for an offensive coordinator out of the Detroit Lions. How, with the 3rd best rushing attack, how can you have 33% rushing plays and 66% passing with a game manager in Jared Goff?
You know what, Jeremy, real quick while we're on that.
Go ahead.
I thought the officiating was atrocious for the Lions. The first play, Ray Charles could have called that pass interference. I was just
You're talking about the one where JMO got hit before the ball went to the defender?
Oh, God, yes. And it ends up an interception, and there's the game because Tim Bakerstown kicks field goal.
Go back to the defensive play against you guys where you got your field goal to start the game.
Oh, that was...
The announcers were even saying Arion Arnold had his head whipped around and was in position and he was going for the ball. That, hey, he's a Bucks fan telling that it was bad.
Absolutely.
I wait for him to say it.
Yeah. Hey, Ralph, before we get on, I want to get this out.
Go ahead.
If you watch the Cincinnati-Kansas City game, the last play that they call pass interference, and everybody's saying it was pass interference, it was nowhere near pass interference. The defender has as much right to the football as the receiver. He went straight up in the air. He doesn't touch the receiver with his hands. In fact, he's playing the ball, hits him in the head, and they call pass interference. That was not. That was Patrick Mahomes again, begging for another pass interference call, as we saw in the Super Bowl. Right, Mike Siszak?
Hey, Leo, explain to Broski Bear that you actually cover the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That you're calling that out, not I didn't bring it up first because I wasn't going with officiating.
Nope,
because
I did.
I already know how all the teams here feel about officiating and the Lions, even though it's been proven statistically, like for about 12 years, the Lions couldn't catch a break if you paid a ref. But anyway,
the worst thing is, Jeremy, there were 4 or 5 calls that were no calls. You could see Goff was just sitting there like going, what's going on? You know, the guy's getting grabbed. And Tampa Bay was obliterated in their secondary with injuries. So they had guys that had to grab and clutch and all that. I thought I was watching a hockey game, fellas. There was so much grabbing and clutching.
Thank you. But
all right, guys. My bum today is the entire Pittsburgh Pirate baseball team. 28 out of 34 years, you have not been in any kind of a playoff contention. And that is sad. And you know what? I blame the owner, Bob Nutting, for this because Bob Nutting is a jerk. He needs to sell the team like Dave Tepper needs to sell the Carolina Panthers and make it a great team once again. Pittsburgh Pirates were legendary back in the 70s with Roberto Clemente, Willie Stargell, Dave Parker, all those guys. But now the Pittsburgh Pirates are nothing but a bunch of bums who every year disappoint. Last year they won 78 games. They'll be lucky if they win it this year, 78 games. Derek Sheldon should be fired. Ben Cherington should be fired. If Bob Nutting had a half a brain, which he don't, he probably would end up cleaning house, but I don't know if that's going to be the case. Broski Bear, you said it correctly. Thank you, Broski Bear, Dale, Christopher Cole, for being part of the show this morning. Let's see if we have anyone else know at the moment. That is all this morning. All right, Broski Bear. I don't like officiating either, and I do complain about it because it's not right. Sometimes the officials cost games that should have not been cost because of their bad play calling. I've seen it in college and I've seen it in the pros, and it's sad. And it's really sad that nothing gets done about it. But as soon as a coach says one thing about it, he's automatically fined, or an owner or somebody or a player. That's wrong. That needs to be changed. The officials need to be hauled to the carpet sometimes when they make bad decision calls that I think are horrible. And, Garasoli or whatever his name is, I like him when he's on the games because he tells it like it is, and he tells it the way he would call it. All right, next. Let's see here. What do we got here next here before we start with our topics? Anyone wants some inside of Panthers, let me know. All right, we will do that. Thank you. All right. Okay, our next segment here, we're going to talk about today, mostly we're going to delve into the NFL Hall of Fame. Once again, Hines Ward from the Steelers for his 9th time is in the Hall of Fame. And, Scott will argue with you that the fact that his statistics didn't meet what is needed. And for 9 years now, or 9 times now, Hines has tried to get into the Hall of Fame and has not been able to. So we're going to see where it goes from there with Hines Ward. But all right, let's get started here as soon as I get our sponsor for this segment up right there. Is Alex's Flowers, brought to you by Alex's Flowers here in Pittsburgh. 412-661-6071. Call Alex today. Weddings, funerals. Look, I know funerals are not great places to be, but Alex will make you feel better with this flower arrangement. Weddings. Also, don't forget about your sweetheart and much more. Call Alex today, 412-661-6071. Alex's Flowers. All right, let's get back into the comment section here for a minute. And we have, let's see here. What do we got? We got Broski Bear here with a comment here. Let's see what he has. The thing about the officiating, all right, is bad calls every game. You could say that's the problem. And there's many plays determine the outcome. Yeah, sometimes plays do determine the outcome, and I do agree with you on that as well. All right, what do we have next here? Let's see. Let's get back to the comments section here. I don't know why my computer's moving like a snail. There we go. All right, this holds true for every sport, says Broski Bear. All right. All right, why is that back up again? There we go. I pushed. What's that, Jeremy?
It never came off again.
Yeah, hold on. I'm trying to get it. There it goes. It should come off now. There we go. All right, guys. Let's get started with the Hall of Fame. Running back, Marshawn Lynch. Kicker, Adam Vinatieri. Defensive end, Terrell Suggs. Then I'll name off some more guys. We'll start with you, Mike, since you're our guest.
I got to go with Terrell Suggs. I mean, he was one of the best defensive players of his generation up here in Baltimore area. He was a linchpin on that defense that won a Super Bowl. Marshawn Lynch was a highlight reel waiting to happen the way that he ran, but I just don't see him as a Hall of Famer. I don't think he had the longevity that I would look for amongst the great running backs. Adam Vinatieri, probably one of the clutchest kickers, especially in the Super Bowls. How many Super Bowls does Bill Belichick actually have if it's not for Adam Vinatieri's foot? Yeah, Leo's giving me the 3. And definitely not those first 2. So of those 3, I'm going to give the nod to Adam Vinatieri and Terrell Suggs. Generational talents at their positions, probably as good as anybody at their positions at that time. Unfortunately for Marshawn Lynch, it's the Hall of Fame, not the Hall of really, 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 really good.
All right, Leo.
You know what? I'm going to echo exactly what Mike said. It's getting to a point now that because of the way the game is played, if Heinz Ward played today, he would be a Hall of Famer because he played with a program in Pittsburgh, didn't throw the football, that they were going to run it, and run it some more. And that's fine. But when you look at what's going on, you're going to have to start to disseminate information. And that's a problem because we're looking at guys and we're just saying, oh, this guy's a Hall of Fame, this guy's a Hall of Fame. No, he's not. He's not there. I mean, everybody talks about guys. Now, Suggs, yes, I think he's in. But Marshawn Lynch and Vinatieri, I agree with Mike. It's not the Hall of very, very, very good. And Vinatieri made 4 kicks. Okay, great. He made 4 kicks.
When you look at his field goal percentage over his career, the clutch kicks that he made, he was very good at his particular job. I don't think it's fair to say that he's not a Hall of Famer because he doesn't have the stats that, say, Terrell Suggs does or Terrell Davis. He's a kicker. He's not a running back. He's not a wide receiver. He's not a quarterback. Your job is to make kicks. Your job is to make kicks when the game is on the line. Your job is to make kicks from the distance that you were asked to make kicks from, all of which Vinatieri did from 2 teams. So he was as good as anybody at his particular job. Now, if you don't believe kickers should be in the Hall of Fame, Leo, I can hear that argument. But if you're going to put a kicker or a specialist in the Hall of Fame, I believe you got to give the nod to Vinatieri.
No.
All right, let's see. Okay, go ahead, Jeremy.
Until Jason Hansen gets in, no kicker deserves to be in because he holds the record for most points scored in the league. That's not bullshit. That's 100% what it is. So until he gets in, and he's been retired now since when? 2005, I think, was the year where we went through so many kickers here with Detroit. And he played a total of 22 seasons with one team. He didn't switch. He didn't care that the team was bad while he was here. He played through and just made kicks and made it so Detroit, through the 90s, was a perennial playoff team, mostly because of Barry Sanders and Jason Hansen. It wasn't because of Scott Mitchell or Andre Ware or Rodney P.
Or any of those guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Ralph, I got to jump in with Jeremy again. Jeremy, I'm hearing reports coming out of Detroit that Dan Campbell had to sell his house and move because is that true?
There is reports that some fans went out to his house after the Sunday game and on Monday night started using a bullhorn, shouting obscenities, throwing stuff at their windows, yelling at him and his wife.
Wow.
But Eli Manning, as much as anybody doesn't want him to get in, because he beat the GOAT Tom Brady twice and undefeated in the Super Bowl, he'll get in first ballot. Not because of his regular season, because of how clutch for the only 2 postseasons he made it to the postseason and went straight to the Super Bowl and beat up on not just Tom Brady, but an undefeated Patriots team too.
All right, let's see what we got here. We got some Broski Bear putting up some good stuff here. All right. Okay, next we have Ryan Khalil, Joe Staley, and Darren Sproles. You got. We'll start with you, Jeremy.
I don't think any of those get in.
Okay. Your thoughts, Mike?
I can see an argument for Joe Staley as a lineman. It's hard to quantify what makes a lineman great because their stats are negative. It's what they don't give up. If you're a lineman and you don't get noticed, then that's probably because you had a good day. Khalil, I think, was a great player. Darren Sproles was a Swiss Army knife of a player. But again, I just don't see where they were great players. They were at the top of the game at their time, but they just don't have the look or the stats of what I would expect of a Hall of Fame player.
All right, Leo.
Yeah, ditto. I mean, it's a shame. These guys are good, but they're not Hall of Fame.
All right. How about you, Jeremy? You were going to say something. Go ahead.
Brent, his comment here. Yes, he did. And they already bought a house, and they just moved in 2 months ago during preseason camp. And now his address got leaked to those fans that were starting the hatred at the other location.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy.
So he's got his $4.5 million home that he just bought.
That's sad. That's really sad. I mean, you know, one thing I'll give Bill Carr credit though was he had a gated community home. He lived in up in Fox Chapel section of Pittsburgh, and it was deep. I mean, I'm talking deep in the woods. So if anybody wanted to try to get to him, that you weren't even going to be close. He lived in a gated community, and then Mike Tomlin, he lives right on the main street in Pittsburgh here, but I don't know if he's had any problems or not. I've passed his house many times. And
you know what, Jeremy? Here's the funny thing. 5 years ago, if you'd have said some fans are coming yelling obscenities at the Lions because they lost, this guy's turned the program around.
I know.
Shut up. Enjoy.
I know. I agree. But there's bad fans in every fan base. We all know this. There's the ones that'll never let go of the negativity of the past. And that is where we have the SOLF, the same old Lions fans. We're not the same old Lions, but we have some of those same old Lions fans. And it's awful.
It is. It's really bad. This is really sad. All right, guys. Let's get into some more of the Hall of Fame for 2025. The class was announced. Brent is part of the program here. Welcome, Brent. Thank you for your comments as well. He says that's terrible after he said that MCD started having issues with the Niners game last year. All right, let's get into some more of who we have here for the Antonio Gates, tight end, receivers, Torrey Holt, Reggie Wayne, Willie Anderson, Jahir Evans, Darren Woodson, Eric Allen, Rodney Harrison, and then we'll get to some defensive player. Oh, I'm sorry, running back Fred Taylor, also Eli Manning. Let's see, who else do we have here? I'm trying to see the rest of this list. Okay, let's see. So Ben Roethlisberger didn't make it yet. Brady nor Pat. Well, you know, Patrick Mahomes aren't eligible. He's not eligible yet. Guys, those names I just named off. Leo, start with you.
I'm leading. Well, again, Jeremy, I'm going to agree with you. Eli Manning's in. You know, you can't put a guy. He's beaten Brady twice. No one can say that. That's top of his resume. But I'll tell you what. Antonio Gates changed the complete dynamic of what a tight end is. He was the first of the basketball players that came over to football, and then Gonzalez followed him. But yeah, he's the one I'm leaning toward. Manning is a shoe-in, and then Antonio Gates. That's who I'd be voting for.
All right, Jeremy.
Until Torrey Holt gets in, Hines Ward doesn't get in. He has better numbers and a Super Bowl ring, just like Hines Ward has a Super Bowl ring. So until
Hines
Torrey
Ward has two.
Yeah, okay, but
Yeah,
still,
Hines Ward has two.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the numbers Torrey Holt had in his career.
No, he doesn't. No,
So,
that's like Scott said the last time we had this argument. Scott said that Hines shouldn't have got in. We had this argument back in August, or you know, when the Hall of Fame game was going on. We had this argument.
These are just.
You know what, guys? Again, look at the program. Torrey Holt played for the greatest show on turf.
Right.
Hines Ward played for the greatest running game in the world. And that's the problem. You know, you're not going to see a lot of targets. You're not going to see a lot of catches when you play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's not going to happen.
Right.
Leo, he got his Super Bowl rings, but the numbers, one season with over 100 catches, 5 seasons with over 1,000 yards. I just don't see the case for Hines Ward. He was an amazing player. He was a great leader. He was the guy that anybody would want to have on their team. He was a guy who went out and did his job. There was very few things, including throwing the ball, that you couldn't ask Hines Ward to do. But that does not make him a Hall of Famer. It makes him a really great player. It makes him a Steelers legend. They should build a statue and retire his jersey number. But I don't see the case for him going to Canton.
All right, guys.
But,
is there any names that you think I might have missed that's on that list?
Luke Kuechly, Antonio Gates, Eli Manning, Olin Kreutz, I agree. He was one of the best centers to ever play the game playing out of Chicago. I have no problems with that. Peanut Tillman, his best numbers came against Calvin Johnson. Other than that, he really didn't do much in his career than kick return a little bit. So you already got Devin Hester. I don't think you're getting a second one.
All right, guys. Mike, Leo, you guys have any final thoughts on this before we wrap this segment up?
You know, guys, real quick, the hardest thing is you're going to see guys come out with stupid numbers now, especially wide receivers. And because they're just throwing the ball almost every down now, they're going to get stats, but you're going to have to sit down and figure out how important are those catches. I mean, right now, Jefferson is making, putting up stupid numbers. Is he a Hall of Famer? I don't think he is yet. And again, you got to put it. And I'm dealing with, wait till you hear what I'm dealing with down here in Tampa. They want to put Brady in the Ring of Honor. They want to retire his number. I'm going, that is a slap in the face to every Buccaneer player who has played 7, 8, 9, 10 years. You're going to put a guy in here as one good year. Yeah, he won the Super Bowl, but one good year. Can't do it.
Guys, I'll be right back. I had something that just happened here at my apartment here. You guys can go ahead and talk amongst yourselves. I'll be right back in about 5 minutes.
Leo, I think that the voters will be able to figure out the wide receiver conundrum at some point and figure out how to judge the ones that are really great from the ones that are really good. We managed to induct quarterbacks in the Hall of Fame back in the Stone Ages when they threw a rock. I'm pretty sure that we can judge wide receivers. You talk about Justin Jefferson right now. Is he a Hall of Famer at this moment? No. If he keeps playing and putting up the numbers that he has over a double-digit number of year period where he's over 8, 9, 10 years, then yeah, he's a Hall of Fame player. I can look at a wide receiver like DK Metcalf who can put up stupid numbers on occasion, but he doesn't look like a Hall of Famer to me at this point in time. These guys will be able to figure it out. There's no reason to create a conundrum right now that really isn't one.
Right. But what I'm saying is, if you look at it, apples to oranges, Justin Jefferson, great player, needs to continue for another 5 to 6 years to at least be considered in contention for that type of honor. The other one that you mentioned, DK Metcalf, he puts up great season numbers, but like you said, it's 7 games that are great and then a bunch of games that are meh. And then you got a guy like Mike Evans. That's all he does is ball out and get 1,000 yards every season and double-digit touchdowns. And he's got a Super Bowl ring.
And look, we're talking about a Mike Evans that's at the end of his career, where longitudinally we can say that he's been balling out for that amount of time.
Right. That's the entire career. He's done this.
If Justin Jefferson does what Mike Evans has done over the course of his career, fine. I don't think any one of us has a problem putting him in. Asking to decide whether Justin Jefferson is a Hall of Famer after 5 years, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. Is he in the Hall of Fame right now? No. We have anointed Patrick Mahomes as a future Hall of Famer. And, based on his resume to this point with the number of Super Bowl rings and the passing records that he has, I can see that argument. But let's see how the rest of his career plays out. He could end up at some point going through an Aaron Rodgers like, hey, I've been with this team for 7, 8 years, and we haven't won a playoff game. So, how do we judge his career then?
Here's the other thing that's the disparity. Active QBs for as long as Pat Mahomes has been in the league, right? Guess how many touchdowns have been called back due to PIs before this season? Or any type of defensive penalty? How many interceptions has he thrown been called back by refs? 51. You know who's the next active closest QB at the end of last season? It's Josh Allen with 7.
Wow.
Wow, that's crazy. All right, guys.
Guys, real quick. I don't know if you saw this stat, but Aaron Rodgers, when he threw a touchdown pass to Wilson, it's the first round wide receiver that's ever caught a touchdown pass from him. And
Yeah.
he's thrown over 450 touchdown passes. It's the first rounder. I think that gets Aaron Rodgers into the Hall of Fame alone.
All right. We haven't discussed Reggie Wayne, which, and then Diggs says, what's up? What's up, Diggs? Also, please don't forget, starting October 5 here, as soon as I can get this up here. Seems like, there we go. Come on, here we are. Let's do it. I'm on. What's going on here this morning? I'm having issues.
It was up and you turned it off.
Oh, yeah, I did. I don't know what's going on.
There you go.
I'm not seeing it on my end. That's the problem. There we go. All right, October 5, Saturday, October 5, 2 to 3 p.m., 12:50 a.m., 92.5 The Answer. Sports, the return of the Sports Corner radio show. Ralph Williams, Smoke, and Jim Frazier. And we have added to our panel Claudio Rosano. And it's going to be one heck of a show. The three of us have a lot to talk about. And we're going to take Pittsburgh sports radio by storm. All right, next, let's talk about some college games. I'm talking about some key games that I think we can talk about here this morning. And that's brought to you in part by the original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, 412-264-4444. The original Hometown Pizza, University Boulevard, Moon Township. Call them today. Take out, eat in, or delivery in the Moon area. Tell them Ralph Williams sent you. You'll get a discount on your order. The original Hometown Pizza, Moon Township, University Boulevard. All right. Let me get this off the air here. There we go. All right. Okay, guys. Some great college games coming up this week that I want to talk about. But first, let's get into the NFL game from Thursday night. The Jets look like they're for real against New England, or was New England just that bad? We'll start with you, Jeremy.
New England is a roster that Gerard Mayo, up to that point, had been able to get everything out of it. They beat the beat up Bengals, and then they took the Seahawks to the brink of a loss. But at the same time, they were rated the worst roster in the NFL. They are rated as a worse roster than the Panthers, which is a testament to coaching. They hit a brick wall. They ran into a good team that was healthy, and what happened? Well, they kind of got bent over.
All right, guys. Go ahead, Mike. You're next. Go ahead. Excuse me.
I agree with you. I think that Gerard Mayo has done a Coach of the Year type job with the Patriots through the first couple of games, but they just ran into a team that is set up with the intention of making a run into the playoffs. The Patriots are not that, especially when you look at the fact that this was the Jets' home opener on Thursday night. I just think they ran into a buzzsaw of a team. I'm still not sold on the Jets. No, and I can say I'm not sold on the Jets because they're the Jets. Just like the other teams up in that area.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's every year.
Enough said there.
Look, the Mets are going to Mets. The Jets are going to Jets. That's what they're going to do. They're very professional at. This is one Aaron Rodgers implosion away from being a multi-car pileup on the George Washington Bridge. So until I see proof of concept, I'm going to withhold judgment on the quality of the Jets.
All right, guys. How about you, Leo?
Mike, I'm going to take that a little further. I'm going to judge the Jets come December. If Aaron Rodgers is still standing, that's going to be a good football team. If not, hey, stick a fork in them, they're done.
I mean, you said the Jets are going to Jets, the Mets are going to Mets. Don't forget, there's one other team on the West Coast that does the same thing. The Chargers are going to Charger. Until Jim Harbaugh gets them there, I have no faith in the Chargers. Justin Herbert's playing on a bum ankle this week.
Yeah, but you know what? They're running the football. That's the key.
I understand, but it's a quarterback league eventually.
Yeah. All right, guys, let's get started here with our college segment here. We're going to go over some games that of substance here a little bit today. As you know, Homecoming is today against Youngstown State. But this segment's brought to you in part by Keystone Coach Works. If you need a wheelchair accessible van, like I went on, got one here, go to Keystone Coach Works on Library Road, Route 88 in Bethel Park, 412-833-1900. Ask for Dawn. Tell Dawn Ralph Williams sent you. They have the best selection. They also have financing available and trade-in available. So if you want to trade in your vehicle and get a new wheelchair accessible van, once again, I'm here for my handicapped brethren to make your life a whole lot better than what it could be by going to Keystone Coach Works, getting yourself a wheelchair accessible van as I have. And, my life has been a whole lot better since I have that van. Vacations are a lot nicer. It's easier for me to get in and out of places and go where I need to go. And Dale says he's not sold on the Jets either. So, he agrees with Leo on that front. And I sort of agree as well. But I do know that if the Jets don't do well this year, I see Robert Saleh getting fired. We're going to find out where that goes as well. Jeremy put a thumbs up and everyone says yes. All right, guys, let's finally get into this. Last night, Illinois and Nebraska, I thought that was a pretty decent game. We'll start with you, Mike, since you're our guest. We're going to start with you first. Illinois, Nebraska last night. Your thoughts on that game?
I thought it was a pretty decent game. I've been surprised by Nebraska. It didn't take them long to kind of get back to some sort of relevance. Illinois starting off the season 4-0 just shows you the strength of the big 436, because it's kind of hard to call them the Big Ten anymore, or the big whatever they are. But there's still a lot of football to play.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Leo.
Yeah, it was a good game, and give Nebraska credit for hanging in there. But when Illinois took the lead in overtime, it was terrible, because Nebraska had no clue how to take care of blitzes and stunts and everything. And boy, I'll tell you, the poor quarterback, I think he got sacked 3 plays in a row. It was crazy.
Oh yeah, you know what, Nebraska, and I've said this many times, they have not been relevant in so many years. But I'm hoping that Matt Rule brings them back to prominence. Jeremy, go ahead.
Well, much of Nebraska's success falls on the shoulders of the quarterback. So will much of their failures. But they finally got a good one in Dominic Raiola's son, Dylan Raiola, because Dominic Raiola was a centerpiece of the Lions offense for a long time on the O-line. So he raised a good kid who has a good head on his shoulders, is a smart QB. Unfortunately, his O-line must have been almost as gassed as their defense in overtime.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. You know what? When your defense gets gassed, you have issues. Illinois starting to become a prominent program once again. They've been down the toilet, especially when Lovie Smith was there. He didn't do a very good job with them in this go around here at Illinois. Last time I remember they were any kind of relevance, Ron Turner, I believe, was their coach there, and that's when they were of any kind of relevance in Illinois. All right, guys, USC versus Michigan. We spoke about this Thursday night on Fire Up, but we're going to talk a little bit more about that. USC's in the Big Ten now, and now they're going to be going up against some people here. Leo, your thoughts on USC Michigan?
I'll tell you what, the big house better be rocking, because there's not too many times you're going to see a team come in that has better athletes than Michigan. I think USC does. And
okay.
That's going to be, I don't know if it equates to a win, but I think this game is going to be close, and I wouldn't be surprised to see USC pull it out.
We have some more and more listeners or watchers or viewers every single week here. We got more and more today. We doubled today what we had last week. So that's this show is really getting out there prominently, and I'm glad to hear that. I've been putting it out on all different types of outlets, including my new website, which is www.rwmediaproductions.com. Check it out. Later on, I will give you our sponsor, who has handled that for me as well.
Well, you know what, Ralph? I got to tell you why you got so many listeners. I put out, they said, hey, you're going to have Jimi Hendrix on today. And there's my man.
You like that, huh? Oh, yeah, you know it. I love Jimi Hendrix. So yeah, oh, absolutely. All right.
I did my hair just for you, Leah.
Oh, there you go. All right. Okay, Jeremy, your thoughts, USC, Michigan.
If that Michigan defense plays as tough as it did versus the last two opponents, because the defense has been good, even against Texas. If you think they held court for the first half, it was the second half that they fell apart because the offense was going 3 and out every drive. So without Donovan Warren throwing it 3 interceptions like last week, which gave them the ball, which they only got 3 points out of for Arkansas State because the defense was stifling. So it wasn't until they put the second string in that they scored to get it close. So if they can do that for an entire game, and now that Warren isn't starting, it's going to be Daniel Orji. We get to see the young guy that has a lot of legs. I mean, he's an athletic QB. He's not a running back that can throw the ball. He's a quarterback that can run. And we've all heard the difference when you're watching him in college. When they sense that pressure, they have the pocket presence to get out of the pocket and make something happen. That's this kid from what I've seen so far. And I'm interested to see how that changes the dynamics of the offense.
All right, Mike.
Michigan has to get some explosiveness on offense from someplace. Hopefully the quarterback change will do that for them. I agree with you. I think that defense has been really solid. Yeah, they gave up points to Texas, but so far everybody else has too. I think this is going to be a great game. But welcome to the Big Ten USC. You're going in. This is where you show. This is where you see what it's going to be like, and they're going to bring a different brand of football than USC has probably seen in recent memory. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game, but I can see Michigan getting it done in the Big House.
All right, guys. I also want to thank everyone for here this morning for your comments. Bronski Bear, Dale, Diggs, everybody that's been on this morning. Christopher Cole. I want to thank everyone for being part of the program as always this morning. Yeah, Michigan is a joke these days. That's what it seems like. It's been like that's Harbaugh brought it back to some prominency, and then all of a sudden now they're back to being a little bit of a joke. But we're going to find out where they go here. We have to give this new guy an opportunity to really try to get it going again for Michigan. The only reason I don't like Michigan is because I'll tell you why. Those of you who don't know, me and the last radio station that I was on, that I had my sports corner show on, we had a contract squabble. And what happened was the guy that runs the radio station went to Michigan, is a Michigan alum, loves Michigan. It's all over his office and everything else. And that's why I want Michigan to fail, because then that way he'll be in a bad mood when he goes to work every morning. All right, Marshall versus Ohio State. We know this is going to be practically a blowout. Maybe. I don't know. Marshall could surprise. I don't know how good Ohio State is these days. I know they've been under a lot of scrutiny for losing some key games. We'll start with you, Mike.
I don't see that. There are surprises. I don't see that one being a surprise. Ryan Day is on the hot seat beyond all hot seats this year. I got to believe that they've got enough firepower at OSU to get by Marshall.
All right. And also, by the way, Heather Light, the former athletic director here at Pitt, has been a candidate for the Ohio State athletic director's job, or something, working in some kind of office or doing something there as well. So that was another prominent reason why she was let go here at Pitt for that as well. Jeremy, go ahead with your thoughts on this game.
If Ohio State had a backbone, Ryan Day would have been fired after he lost his third straight to Jim Harbaugh last year after they promised the job to Brian Hartline. That's why Brian Hartline is no longer an assistant coach or offensive coordinator. I don't think that they're going to be as good offensively as they have been. They lost too much between C.J. Stroud, the quarterbacks, all the wide receivers they lost, and they're quietly becoming a wide receiver U, but it's like a part 3 wide receiver U, because there's 2 other teams I'd take their wide receivers in the pros other than Ohio State, because most of them, other than Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, the ones in the past have just been good to very good. They haven't been great. So,
all right. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Leo.
I'm going to go right out here and tell you guys, Ohio State wins the national championship. They're going to win it. They'll run the table. Yeah, get a good laugh now. But guess what? Chip Kelly is their offensive coordinator. You better be ready to play every 16 seconds because that's how fast they're going to run plays at you. And trust me, Miami's going to see this tonight because South Florida is the same way. They go uber fast. It is just ridiculous. The Big Ten has never seen this. They're going to see it now. I think Ohio State, they got enough talent, and they don't have to worry about Michigan. They're in a down year. They run the table, win the national championship.
Chip
Yeah,
Kelly,
I was just going to ask everybody about. I was just going to ask everybody their thoughts about the Chip Kelly, but Leo already put it there. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Chip Kelly came out of the same coaching tree that Rich Rod did. The Big Ten
Rich
is
Rod.
Rich Rodriguez. We have seen this offense before. It doesn't work in a smash mouth Big Ten. That's why
it will now because the Big Ten is now put in the West Coast.
you've
It's
got
going to
4
work.
teams, still got 12 teams that's been in the Big Ten. There's a big
Yeah,
difference.
but it's going to. Jeremy, you watch. It's going to work because they're going to.
Jeremy's right though, Leo.
It's going to work.
Jeremy's right though, Leo. You can't shove a square peg into a round hole. I mean, if you've got the talent to run a West Coast offense or running, and like Jeremy said, the Big Ten is about running and smash mouth football, not about that West Coast stuff. But everyone's going to have to learn it. Yes, I get it. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because
it'll take 3 years. You watch. It'll take 3 years to install that and make it work. And Ohio State's not that patient.
Exactly. That's like here at Pitt, we got Cade Bell from Western Carolina, who came in as our offensive coordinator. He's running a go offense. Every 5-7 seconds, the ball gets in the hand of the quarterback, and it's a fast-paced, moving offense. We fortunately we were able to get some recruits to come in, and transfer portal worked in our favor. And we got some athletes that are able to come in here and at least for this year keep it going. All right, here's a good one here. Scott's not here for this one. He covers Miami, but he's from South Florida. The South Florida-Miami game, this could be a dogfight because South Florida's starting to come around. Leo will agree with us on that. We'll start with you, Leo.
You know what, guys? And again, the game's not played on paper. But if you take just the offense of both teams, combine their averaging over 90 points, combine their averaging close to 1,100 yards a game. This is not going to be a 10-7 football game. I'll tell you what, if Miami comes in here half-stepping, they're going to find out how good that South Florida defense is and how much pressure they can put on it. Todd Orlando basically took Alabama out of its game for 3.5 quarters, and then they just flat out ran out of gas. And again, this game is going to be based on who can run the football, because whoever can stay on the field on offense, they're going to win the game.
All right, guys. Next, excuse me, I'm sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
South Florida's Leo's looked really, really great against Southern Miss and Bethune-Cookman. But come on, you're another step up in class when you're playing Miami.
Yeah, you're definitely stepping up in class, no doubt about it.
And so let's see. This is another one. You're right. They looked good for a little bit. They almost acquitted themselves nicely, but almost only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades.
Atom bombs and prom dates.
Yes. So I don't. They might look good. They might try and acquit themselves nicely, but I'm just not sure that they get by Miami.
All right,
Jeremy, go ahead. Deal, guys. In fact, I've got Ohio State playing Miami in the national championship game, so I'll put that out right there too.
All right.
Miami has the better defense than Alabama. If you look at how they played defensively, they've been shutting teams down.
Yes,
that's what USF has to deal with. And I understand what you're saying, that Miami has to deal with that, but they're conditioned for a tougher division than what USF is.
Oh,
and you're going to see kind of a similar thing that happened with them as it happened with Alabama. 3/4 of the game, they might be able to keep it in, but by the fourth quarter, that team's going to get gassed.
You know what, guys? I want to see one thing, though. Miami this year has not played a down being behind. They've either been tied or ahead every down of 3 games. Let's see if they get behind what happens.
And they've only won the toss once. What does that tell you? Don't give them the ball first.
Nope.
Yeah,
Nope.
exactly.
Oh,
there you go.
If Miami, whoever's in it, they want the ball. If South Florida wins the toss, they're not going to defer. They're going to take the football. I can tell you that right now.
Oh, yeah.
Tell you what, if they do and they lose by 7 points, tell you I said it first here. If they defer.
There you go. Yeah. All right. Alex Golish doing a great job at South Florida. Miami, their defense under Mario Cristobal, he's one of the better defensive coaches in the entire college football system. He's been in different systems. He's been a coordinator. He's been a head coach. So Miami's up and coming a little bit. Things take time. Rome wasn't built in a day. So, some of these, programs you got to build from the ground up.
Hey, Ralph, we only got 5 minutes, and we got to talk about Shohei Ohtani. I mean.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sure, Leo. Go ahead. We can talk about that.
We got to talk about that.
All right. Well, hang on 1 second, okay? Can you hang on a minute?
Yeah.
The Ohtani segment's brought to you in part by Big Dog Auto. Call Big Dog Auto today out by the Allegheny County Airport in West Mifflin, 412-999-0191. Big Dog Auto. I tell you what, man, Big Dog Auto will fix your car at the right way, at the right price, and they will not take you to the cleaners, rip you off, or anything like that. Oil changes, state inspections, much more. Call the Big Dog, 412-999-0191. Go ahead, Leo.
You know what? People don't realize that it's not the 40-40 club anymore. It's the 50-50 club. 50 home runs, 50 stolen bases. That's unheard of, guys. And we watched a historic moment the other night. It was phenomenal just watching this guy. He goes 6 for 6, 3 home runs, a couple stolen bases. Wow. It may have been the greatest individual night of anybody.
Okay. Let's get it straight, because it's not just historic because of the 50-50 club. Only one player in MLB history has done this in their career. 10 RBIs, 6 extra base hits, 3 RBIs, or 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases. All of that has only been done by one player in his entire career, and Shohei Ohtani did it in one night.
Yeah. One night.
All right, Mike, go ahead. Your answer or your thoughts on Ohtani.
If he's going to hit like this,
why pitch him, right?
Why pitch him? Like, at what point in time you have to look at this season and start to wonder, has his desire to pitch been holding back his batting?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. This is our final segment, which is our local segment. We'll talk about locally what you're doing in your community, what teams are doing, and everything else. Brought to you in part by Digital Data. Digital Data at a low monthly price. We'll put up a website for you and manage it. I send every show to them. They put it up and they manage it properly. Within minutes, it's up on my website. I send them banners. It's up on my website. Graphics, anything I want to send them information, they put it on my website right away, and they'll do it just for you as well. Digital Data. Get in touch with them today. 1-877-296-9504. That's 1-297-297-9504. Call them today. Get in touch with them and tell them Ralph Williams sent you. Digital Data. All right, guys. Our local segment. We will start with you, Jeremy.
Well, we traveled to Arizona, which it has not gone well recently with Arizona when Detroit was one of the worst defenses in the league. Kyler Murray as a starter versus Detroit with 2 games in his home stadium is 0-2-1 versus Detroit. The other thing I wanted to add is that this isn't last year or 2021's defense for that matter, because last year at this time we were 32nd in passing, 3rd in rushing, and 22nd overall in defense after 2 weeks. After 2 weeks this year, we're third in rushing defense still, but we're 10th in passing defense and 14th overall in yardage. But we are the tied for fourth as the best scoring defense again in the NFL. That is something to consider. While everybody says, oh, watch out for this and watch out for that, we're not the Lions of old.
There you go. All right, Leo, go ahead with your local.
Okay, I'm going to give you a quick roundabout of Bay Area sports. The Buccaneers, they're going to host the Denver Broncos Sunday. USF, they're hosting Miami. The Rays finish up their home season this weekend. They have Toronto in town. The Rowdies, and Ralph, I know this pains you, but the Rowdies stopped the
Riverhounds, yeah. It's been a painful season for the Riverhounds.
Yeah.
It's been a painful, bad season for them this year.
Yeah, they've been they go 10 games undefeated. The Rowdies are up in Charleston playing the Battery, and the new women's soccer team, the Suns, they are going to host. They're heading up to Carolina as well. They lost to Brooklyn last week, and the Lightning, Ralph. It's hockey time, buddy.
Yes, it is.
Preseason starts Tuesday, and I'll be there.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about hockey on this program coming up soon. As you know, hockey season is getting started. Mike, go ahead with your local.
I should abstain from this one because in the DC area, it's basically a revolving clown car of badness. The Commanders ended up in the red zone.
A recurring thing of badness.
The Commanders end up in the red zone 27 times, and each way at time they false start their way out of it. The Washington Nationals are so inept that they managed to injure the Washington Spirit's star player while she was throwing out the first pitch. Troy Bethune's going to miss the end of the season. The biggest news out of the Capitals is TJ Oshie is now on long-term IR, so there goes that. And the Washington Wizards are the Washington Wizards. But we do have the Washington Spirit, who are actually the one redeeming thing that is going on in this area right now. And yeah, I know I didn't mention Maryland football because who really wants to talk about Maryland football? Not even Maryland football wants to talk about Maryland football.
Yeah, they are.
Goes to Maryland football games wearing Michigan jerseys.
Yeah, they have regressed. You're exactly right. I do agree with you on that one. That's a good one, Mike. Thank you. All right. Steelers, Russell Wilson will not play again this Sunday. We'll see Justin Fields, as I mentioned, Thursday night. Also, we have a few other guys out of notice. Our first-round draft pick may not even play. They're going to put in last year's first-round draft pick, Broderick Jones, who, as you know, had 3 penalties in one series, and he's possibly going to be starting this Sunday as well because Fomatu has a recurring knee injury that happened in preseason. So we're going to see what happens there. The Pirates, I don't even want to talk about the Pirates. They're my bum for this show. We can forget about them. We'll wait till next year, as they say every year anyway. Penguins are getting started. As Leo mentioned, hockey is starting up. Training camp is here. And Pittsburgh has a new female USL soccer team hosted by the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. It's called the Pittsburgh Riverettes, and they will be starting to play next year. I will be having guest Matt Grubba, who is the guy who is in charge of the Riverhounds. He will be joining me and Smoking Jim Frazier on Tuesday at 4 o'clock on Sports Corner online, because don't forget we have Sports Corner radio show coming up starting Saturday, October 5, 2 to 3 p.m. On 12:50 a.m. The Answer, and also 92.5 on the FM dial. The return of Sports Corner radio show. They thought we weren't coming back, but guess what? We're back, and we're going to be better than ever, and we're coming after everybody. So 12:50 a.m., 92.5 on the FM dial. The Answer, the return of Sports Corner radio show. Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudio Rosano. All right, guys, let's wrap things up here. Final thoughts, and give everybody your information to get a hold of you. Leo, start with you.
Final thoughts. I am so happy that the Fever made the WNBA playoffs, because it's finally going to prove that the only person that is worth watching in the WNBA is Caitlin Clark. Now they're going to show, because nobody's going to watch any of the game, but they're going to watch the WNBA Fever play the Connecticut Sun. And then they're going to have a database to prove that this woman has turned that league around. Check out Amped Up Sports. We're out at Miami tonight, Miami USF tonight. And we have a little segment called Shooting the Bull, where we get a couple of athletes. We got 3 girl soccer players we're going to put up next week. You're going to have to watch that. It's a scream.
All right. Leo probably will be involved tomorrow with Peter Blake and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers broadcast as well. He does the pre and post game show. I will be hosting a post game show 30 minutes past after the Steeler game tomorrow. And don't forget about my Bible capsule at 6 o'clock at 7. The way we see it, Bill Canada and myself will be on a day early because my mom's birthday is on Monday. So we're taking Monday off. We'll be on Sunday night or tomorrow night at 7 o'clock p.m. All right, Jeremy, your information.
Well, you can find my writings on the SouthFloridaTribune.com under the Motor City Tribune heading, where I write about the NFL and the Detroit Lions. You can find me on Fire Up on the South Tribune YouTube channel. You also can find me right here on RW Media on Saturday mornings with the External Bum, hosted by Ralph Williams, and Leo Haggerty, Scott Morganroth, and whoever else he brings in as a guest is with us. Sometimes it's all of us. Sometimes it's 3 of us. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
yeah, Scott had some things to do today, so I let him go do his thing.
And you can also find me on my YouTube channel, which is Kneecap Biting with the Motor City Lion, which goes live into YouTube, Facebook, and Amazon, Fire Stick, and Roku 9 times a week. Ralph is a guest.
Right.
I have lots of good guests from many fans and podcasters from around the league.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Wednesday night's a great night. I enjoy being on your program, Jeremy. Thank you for having me on as well. And I'm also on Fire Up on the South Florida Tribune Network every Thursday night at 9 p.m. with Jeremy Ballreich and Candy Ebling. And then once in a while on Wednesdays, most of the time at 10:30, except for this past Wednesday, I'm on with Peter Blake and the Turnbuckle Talk at 10:30. Sometimes Mark Mancini appears as well. Mike Siszak, go ahead.
If you have completely run out of everything that you want to listen to, watch, or otherwise sports related, listen to every possible audio book, read War and Peace and the Fall of the Roman Republic, and still find yourself extremely bored, look up the Too Many Guys Soccer Show on YouTube. It's the number 2 Many Guys Soccer. Join me, my producer Stead, and the revolving cast of bears riding tricycles that we call our correspondents for the worst 120 minutes or so in all of sports.
All right, Fred.
For that.
Come in late. Said good morning for Lake Michigan. Good morning to you, Fred. Go ahead, Leah. What were you saying?
Yeah, and I'll vouch for that. It's a terrible 2 hours. Trust me.
I just want to know, is your intro the zebra from Madagascar singing the Afro Circus intro?
We haven't even figured out how to get an intro yet. Sometimes the show just starts and I don't even realize it until we've been recording for 5 minutes.
Yeah, the worst thing is I think I'm talking to customer service because all I hear is all these accents on with you, Michael.
Hey, we got rid of the guys with accents.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, there you go. All right, guys. It was a great show this morning. Great having you guys on board here. We'll have Scott back next week. He's a very busy man today, which of course that's what.
Well, we got to find a mystery man formation for him.
Ah, there you go. All right, guys. Everyone have yourselves a great morning. Enjoy your weekend. I will be on again tomorrow for the post-game show for the Steelers, 30 minutes beyond the game. Jeremy will be on with his Detroit Lions, and Leo will be on with Peter Blake and the rest of the Amped Up Sports guys. And Mike, he'll be kicking soccer balls all over the place. So there you go.
Cheers, boys.
All right, guys.
Have a good one, guys.
Cheers.
And Mike, thanks for being a special guest today. Everyone have yourselves a great one. Thank you for being part of the show. Have a good one, and God bless and be safe.
Have a good one.